Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. Tonight, the opposition is proposing yet another attempt at a referendum in the Republic of Kenya owing to the recommendations of the National Dialogue Committee. Will it happen? Will it yield? That's the big question tonight.
Now that comes as the Azimio outfit maintains that it is going to force the state to tackle some of the unresolved issues through other avenues in the coming days.
And of course, tomorrow the country marks 1 year since the launch of the Hustler Fund. Tonight our focus is on what are the gains, what are the misses, what is the default rate so far, and how many people have been able to repay. But the biggest question, of course, tonight is how do you access your savings under the Hustler Fund? That we'll be posing those questions to the acting CEO of the Hustler Fund, and that will be in the course of this bulletin. But first things first, tonight's highlights.
To create the office of the leader of opposition or to formalize the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the people of Kenya have to have their say by way of a referendum.
Inevitable path. Azimio leader Raila Odinga says referendum is a must in actualizing the National Dialogue Committee recommendations. Police raid and shut a recycling company in Nairobi's Embakasi area for allegedly exposing workers to radioactive material. And close to 100,000 families so far affected by El Niño floods across the country. And Wangeshi is a sign language interpreter. My name is John Jacob Kioria. You're very much welcome to the broadcast.
Good evening, I'm Regina, Manyara.
Now, the number of households affected by the ongoing floods has risen to 83,432.
Now, the government spokesman, Isaac Morris, says that the government has intensified response across the affected counties, even as a surge in diseases such as malaria and cholera is being reported.
Meanwhile, families of those who died after being washed away by flood waters at Muweni River in Makueni County flocked to Mutomo Mortuary in Kitui with the hopes of identifying the remains of their kin.
At Mutomo Mortuary in Kitui County, families of 8 people washed away by flood water while attempting to cross River Muweni in the neighboring Makueni County 6 days ago await for their DNA samples to be taken. The body of a woman retrieved from River Athi on Monday has since been contested as the families were unable to positively identify it.
Wakati niliingia mara ya kwanza niliangalia vidole vya miguu kwanza nikasema ni yeye, sababu zilikuwa zinafanana na vile nilikuwa nafikiria na vile nilikuwa namjua. Lakini baada ya kuchunguza na kufikiria tena kuhusu hiyo maneno yake ya meno, ndio nikasema angaliwe meno. Sasa hiyo meno ndio imenifanya niseme si yeye, sababu mwenye hapa kwenye hii hifadhi ya mochari ya Mutomo meno yake yote iko kwenye laini moja, lakini hiyo yangu ya bibi yangu ilikuwa iko kwa laini moja.
Na hapa kwa mdomo yake kuna hii alama.
Yeye hakuwa na nywele, kitu ya kwanza. Ya pili, alikuwa na alama. Sikusiona.
The body is suspected to have been ferried by flood waters from River Muweni after the incident. Of the 8 washed away, only 3 bodies have been identified. A multi-agency team is working to recover 4 other bodies.
Ikiwezekana tutakwenda mpaka bahari la Hindi ambapo mto Athi unashikana na bahari la Hindi ili tuone kama tutaweza kusaidika kupata miili ya watu wetu ambao walipotea.
In the coastal region, victims of floods in Tana River County sheltered at Kongolola camp are appealing for more humanitarian assistance.
Ombi langu ni kwamba hao wenzangu ambao wamekosa pia nao wajumuike na kile ambacho kimekuja na wao wapate msaada angalau.
Ingawaje mengine hatujapata, lakini tunaomba sisi wa mama na watoto wetu angamu tuangalie kwa misaada.
Watu wameacha makao, hawana vyakula, hawana chochote. wamebakia mabarabarani, watu wamejazana mabarabarani, watakula wapi?
Tumekuwa tukifikia nyumba zaidi ya 4,000 na hizo nyumba tumekuwa tukipeana shilingi 10,800 na kwa sababu ya shida hii ya janga la mafuriko tumeongezea nyumba zingine 500.
According to the victims, several affected locals from various villages across the county have flocked the camp seeking shelter despite the limited resources.
And also
the government says that it has scaled up efforts to cushion the affected households that have so far risen to 93,432.
The government will also disburse Kenya shillings 625.8 million to benefit approximately 500,000 people or Kenyans in 8 counties under the cash transfer program, aptly named the Hunger Safety Net Funds.
Government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura says that there has been an increase in diseases such as malaria and cholera due to the floods.
Serikali itatuma nets ya kukinga wale wameathiriwa na hawa mosquitoes kuzuia ugonjwa hizo za malaria.
The number of deaths resulting from the flood stands at 120 people. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Apologies, some correction on the figures. The number of those who have been affected by the floods is actually 93,432 and not the 83,000 that I had mentioned earlier.
Now we cross over to politics, where Azimio leader Raila Odinga has supported the idea of a referendum to implement certain proposals fronted by the National Dialogue Committee report.
Speaking at the SKM Center in Nairobi, Odinga says the creation of the office of the opposition leader and the office of a prime cabinet secretary should be subjected to a referendum and Kenyans to have their say.
Is a constitutional requirement, and the ODM leader further stated that the report is imperfect and unfinished but supported it anyway.
Abdiaziz Hashim has that story.
After days of waiting for the Azimio leader Raila Odinga to publicly proclaim his stance over the recent launched National Dialogue Committee report that sought to quell disagreements between the two ruling factions, the ODM leader revealed his decision in an Azimio PG meeting held at the SKM Center in Nairobi after 3 months of deliberations between the Azimio wing led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and the Kenya Kwanza's Kimani Ichung'wah team.
The document the team has come up with is ultimately imperfect and unfinished, but it is a good beginning.
Raila shared his dissatisfaction with the outcome of the report, especially on the rising cost of living that he claims Kenya Kwanza were not willing to tackle and adopt solutions from the various recommendations they fronted, like repealing the Finance Act 2023 in its entirety.
Azimio, however, remains deeply disappointed that the committee was not able to agree on the one fundamental issue on which Kenyans are united across the political divide. The two teams were unable to agree on the need and the means to reduce the cost of living.
Odinga further noted that Kenyans must be involved in the decision-making process of certain proposals made by the 10-member committee that seeks to alter with the 2010 constitution that is yet to be fully implemented.
To create the office of the leader of opposition or to formalize the office of the prime cabinet secretary, the people of Kenya have to have their say by way of a referendum. Besides, it is a constitutional requirement that such significant restructuring of government must go through a referendum to avoid the mischief that may be played by some people going to court.
The Azimio leader further proposes that the state should settle on a system that will govern the country and end the political intolerance after every election period.
It is also our stand that this country cannot continue moving forward by being undecided. We have to agree whether we want a parliamentary, presidential system or a hybrid system.
While supporting the report, Odinga maintains that he will use other avenues to force the government to address the perennial issues dogging Kenyans, like the increase of taxation, especially on essential commodities like fuel, which has led to the rise of commodities in the country. This comes as a section of Azimio leaders led by NAK Kenya Party leader Martha Karua and DAPK leader Eugene Wamalwa have shared their frustrations over the report, stating it has not achieved its initial objective.
Honorable Eugene Wamalwa was here earlier on in the meeting of the summit. He only has had to leave because he had some pressing matter to deal with. But he approved the report as presented by the team. He had not been in the country when this report was being signed, but he's going to append his signature on the report. Honorable Martha Karua is out of the country. We had talked to her earlier on today. She's in Hargeisa.
All eyes are now on Parliament as Azimio and Kenya Kwanza MPs are poised to flex their political muscle to determine the fate of the National Dialogue Committee report in the coming days. Abdiaziz Hashim, Prime Edition.
A police officer found guilty of taking a bribe from a Chinese national has been sentenced to 5 years in jail.
The convict, Corporal Julius Ogumo, was given an alternative fine of 1.9 million shillings. His fellow convict, Charles Masharia Wanjiru, was found guilty of 1 count of obstruction and sentenced to 1 year in prison or an alternative fine of 400,000 shillings.
Anti-Corruption Chief Magistrate Thomas Nzioka said that from a total of 7 counts in which the first convict faced, the prosecution was only able to prove 3 counts against him.
I also acknowledge that I've seen remorse in the mitigation by councils and also in your statements to the probation officers, as well as even in your own unwritten affidavits. And you have also said that you regret for your actions.
His fellow convict, Charles Masharia Wanjiru, was found guilty on 1 count of obstruction and sentenced to 1 year in prison or an alternative fine of 400,000 shillings. The duo are accused of obtaining a bribe from a Chinese national and concealing evidence.
You blame yourself. Don't touch government money, isn't it? My money, your money, our money. Please don't run away with it. You would have just thrown it away and you escape. That one be understood.
Meanwhile, the Law Society of Kenya LSK Kakamega branch has called on politicians to respect the rule of law after Mumia's East MP Peter Salasia threatened a magistrate who didn't rule in his favor.
What we are witnessing today, if not checked yesterday, is likely to plunge this country in more trouble. Because where the rule of law is not respected, then the law of the jungle takes place.
We wish to advise the good MP and the public in general that court decisions are as a result of intense legal reasoning. So you do not fault by social media hype.
Elsewhere, the fake lawyer Brian Mwenda appeared before Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina to confirm compliance. Pre-trial date is set for 11th March the year 2024. And finally, a case in which a Kenyan woman, Agnes Wanjiru, was murdered in the year 2012 at a hotel in Nanyuki by a British soldier, appeared in court for directions. The family lawyer told the court that the documents submitted in court by the respondents should be rejected. The court has ruled that all parties should comply and the case be mentioned on 21st of May the year 2024.
We are not opposed to them having time in order to file the documents and serve on us. However, given the nature of the case, Your Honor, and how emotive it is, we would request, Your Honor, that you give us the most nearest date possible before the Honorable Judge. The nearest date possible.
That's the question that we have to the both governments, the UK government and the Kenyan government. Until when? It is 11 years of pain and trouble.
Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition.
Well,
Well, there's a sad story there emanating from the question. Of course, we hope justice will be served. The head of public service, Felix Koskei, says the country has lost 70% of its wildlife in the last 30 years owing to poaching, destruction by communities and corrupt individuals, among them those under the protection of government agencies.
Koskei, who was on a familiarization tour of the Kenya Wildlife Service in Nairobi, warned the government will not relent in weeding out corrupt individuals who are destroying the country's flora and fauna, resulting in a slump in the tourism sector due to mismanagement and plunder of public resources.
Joseph Ohungu with details of this visit.
As government steps up its effort to rid its department of rampant corruption, the head of public service, Felix Koskei, Wednesday visited Kenya Wildlife Service offices. It is here that he issued a warning to KWS leadership and staff to desist from rampant practices and wastage of resources.
We cannot continue to watch as few greedy individuals compromise our lives and that of generations to come. We cannot continue to be a country of stalled projects, poor quality infrastructure, collapsing bridges and buildings, degraded forests, stolen or misallocated funds, and poor service delivery.
According to Koskei, the country has lost 70% of its wildlife and a whopping 24 billion shillings worth of revenue per year due to graft in KWS. He warned officials who have been aiding poaching, degradation of wildlife ecosystem, waste, theft, loss, and misallocation and resisting audit that their days are numbered. He also reiterated that there will be no sacrificial lambs in the war on graft and those peddling false influence will not be entertained.
Don't take up instructions that are illegal. Let us be fair. Let us be objective, whether it is promotion, whether it is appointments, whether it is transfers. Anything that you do to a human being and wildlife, let us do justly.
To curb waste, the head of public service says the government has rolled out digital payments, urging those visiting the parks to comply. KWS was also urged to leverage on partnership with local and international stakeholders to boost its services, attract more revenue, and be self-sustaining.
We are taking action in this country. We are dead serious about this. Corruption has to stop, ladies and gentlemen. And for me coming here with other institutions, it's deliberate because there is a lot of hope in turning around KWS very quickly.
For Prime Edition, I'm Joseph Wahungu.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo has urged graduates from the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication to embrace opportunities in the digital space to create content as well as uphold journalistic integrity and fact-checking before publishing information.
This was his message during the graduation ceremony of 457 students held at the institution in Nairobi.
The graduates were conferred with various diplomas and certificates.
There was a beehive of activity at the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication as hundreds of graduates were awarded diplomas and certificates in various disciplines after completing their studies. Information Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo, who was the chief guest, urged the youth to tap into the digital space.
You need to embrace the emerging opportunities that technology presents. And mark you, the window of opportunity does not open forever. It opens and closes, So you have to continuously scan your operational environment so that when an opportunity arises, you take it.
Additionally, he reiterated the government's commitment to install digital hubs in every constituency across the country, which he says will be a game changer in creating jobs opportunities for the youth.
We are establishing a total of 25,000 free Wi-Fi hotspots spread evenly all over the country. We are establishing village digital hubs for two purposes. One, to facilitate digital skilling for the youth, and two, and most importantly, to facilitate uptake of digital jobs for our youth.
Broadcast Principal Secretary Professor Edward Kisiangani, on his part, lauded the institution for producing some of the best journalists in the media industry.
I'm confident that with your profession
this profession you are engaged in, you'll see a lot of people coming to you to even fight your own country, to provide a platform for them to attack your own country, your own people. Please shy away from that.
The institute is the most competitive, hands-on middle-level public institution of media training in the country, attracting employees from government departments and private sector who come to train to enhance their skills in communication and creative arts and cinematic arts.
On this note, I want to bless you and send you forth to go, create, and find opportunities to serve in your respective areas of profession.
The Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, domiciled under the Ministry of Information, is among one of the renowned media training institutions in the country. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
And congratulations to all the graduates from the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. Go yonder and do exploits. Time for us now to take a breather on Prime Edition, but just a reminder that Elizabeth Nkuku, the acting CEO of the Financial Inclusion Fund, otherwise known as Hustler Fund, is our guest tonight, and the focus largely is on the Hustler Fund, the hits and the misses 1 year on. Tomorrow is when they mark that anniversary of the Hustler Fund.
Here comes trouble, here comes the danger, sent by the Savior, welcome the Rasta youth. Oh, think twice, just another day for you and me in Kingston Town. You don't call anymore, 'cause I'm still thinking about you. Have you found somebody new?
COMESA is one of the 8 regional economic communities recognized by the African Union and has a membership of 21 member states with a population of over 600 million people. Covers quite a wide area, ranging from membership from as far north as Tunisia and as far south as Eswatini.
COMESA's mission is to make trade easier. Its headline projects, programs, and initiatives focus on 4 types of integration.
Watch the COMESA Briefly documentary on Thursday, the 30th of November at 6:30 p.m. on KBC Channel 1. From the dawn of independence to the present day, Kenya has journeyed with strength and determination. We celebrate Kenya at 60. As we mark this incredible milestone, KBC and Jamboree present an unforgettable celebration of culture, music, and awareness. Immerse yourself in a musical journey featuring global sensations like the mighty Itals and Everton Blender, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, alongside our incredible homegrown artists. But it's not just about the music. Join us for a day of cancer awareness and a fun-filled family day, including horse riding, bouncing castles for the kids, and a special tree planting exercise. Save the dates as we tour a county near you. Ticket information is available on our social media handles at Jamboree Festival KE. Join the celebration, feel the rhythm, and make memories that will last a lifetime. Happy birthday, Kenya.
Hatarisha maisha ya watoto kwa kuwanyima chakula na mahitaji yao ya kila siku.
Okay, nitaresa umesema saba ni mwaka ama ni last year?
Mwaka huu.
Mwaka huu. Wewe unafungangwa diapers?
Mimi hapana funga mimi.
Very good. Kuna yako ilipiwa hata moja?
Hapana.
Hakuna. Get out.
Unasikia bila
kurudia wax siku moja utatolewa.
Woi, hata nipatolee tu mshipa mara moja. Hata takachapa. Who take the munyonyi and start to nyonyas?
Hiyo maziwa iko na a lot of vitamins. Ndio naona uso wako umebadilika. Ukakuwa very healthy.
Paka kamia kitambi.
Ndio hata kitambi amekuwa naye.
Wow.
Welcome back. You're watching the Prime Edition.
Now, a section of construction workers in Nairobi South B estate are expressing concerns following the High Court ruling declaring their housing levy unconstitutional.
The workers, who are employees at a construction site under the Affordable Housing Program, are expressing a fear that they could be rendered jobless in the wake of this high cost of living and high unemployment rate.
This comes as the Ministry of Housing has cautioned employers against failing to deduct and remit the levy, citing the court order that has stayed its ruling until January 2024.
At Nairobi's Mukuru kwa Ruben, heavy machinery, men at work, engineers issuing instructions. It is yet another day at a construction site following the rollout of the Affordable Housing Project. This has been the case for the last few months, and several bed-sitter units are being constructed. The target is to put up 26 blocks of bed-sitters, 3,001 bedroom and 4,002 bedroom houses. But the fate of the ongoing construction hangs in the balance, along with that of thousands of workers contracted to work at the site, following a High Court ruling that declared the deduction of the housing levy unconstitutional on Tuesday. The site has employed 900 workers on a daily basis, a majority being masons, carpenters, steel fitters and electricians. Following the ruling of a court, the workers are now expressing concerns amid fears they could lose their source of livelihood.
Maisha saa hii ni ngumu. Kiangalia hata penye dunia inaenda saa hii. Kama huna kakitu, huwezi kuwa unaweza maintain familia. Sasa sisi tunaomba tu rais wetu aendelee kushikilia mahali yako hapo, na endelee kushikilia hii mradi. Iendelee ndio tuendelee sisi kupata tonge penye tutalisha familia.
Hii kazi imenisaidia sana. Niko na watoto wawili. Mmoja ameenda grade 3, mwingine ameenda grade 1. Nasaidianga wazazi kupitia kwa hii mjengo.
Isisimamishwe kwa maoni yangu. Naomba iendelee hivyo hivyo. Inatusaidia sana.
They have called on the government to fast track the process of regularizing the levy, even as they faulted the ruling of a court. This comes as Lands Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome, in a statement, cautioned employers against failing to deduct and remit contributions after the 3-judge bench granted a 45-day stay order.
The jobs that are already here. So that means if it is to be affected, that means people are going to be temporarily to lose jobs.
A lot of people here are going to lose their jobs. We have close to 800 to 900 skilled laborers, unskilled laborers. We also have professionals in the industry.
Hii housing levy hii inasaidia kila mtu. Haisaidii mimi Wandera ama haisaidii rais wetu Ruto. Inasaidia kila mtu. Kwa sababu angalia mtu kama mimi niko hapa. Kwetu ni Busia. Lakini najenga hapa. Nafaidikia hapa.
Mimi nikiambia mahakama wasimamishe hii kazi, kwa sababu hii kazi imesaidia watu sana kutoka mbali na kufikia watoto wao na familia zao.
The levy started being deducted in July, with the Kenya Revenue Authority mandated as the collecting agent. And now the spouse of the Deputy President, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, has launched a 2-day free medical camp targeting matatu drivers and conductors in Nairobi City.
The camp that is running at the Aga Khan Walk is also seeking to re-addict those affected by alcoholism, drugs and substance abuse.
Also, Kakamega County has been ranked as the top impactful county development-wise at 70.6%.
This and more in the county's news roundup.
Speaking during the launch of the free medical camp, Pastor Dorcas called on those in the Matata sector to shun away from drugs and substance abuse, as well as help in speaking out against those selling and distributing illegal substances.
When you are driving under the influence of alcohol with 30 people in your car or in your bus, with 50 people in your bus, with 14 people in your matatu, with one person whom you are riding with, you must take care of that life.
Meanwhile, Kakamega County has been ranked as the top impactful county at 70.6%, with Nyeri County topping the 20 best counties at position 20 with 55.2%. According to a survey conducted by Polytrack Kenya, the counties were ranked according to the impactful projects in the devolved units.
And among the projects that were termed in relation to these particular governance include the Governors Cup tournament, being something that was termed by most of the respondents in this study.
And Top Hill Hospital, situated in Eldoret, has held a workforce health dynamic seminar on brain, bone and nerves in Trans Nzoia to sensitize corporate officers on how to avoid or treat such diseases.
Because we are living longer, we are getting very high rates of complaints with regard to the hip, the knee joint, the back.
Elsewhere, youths in Bonchari constituency, Kisii County, have decried what they claimed as insufficient funds allocated to promote talents in the area.
NGCDF under mambo ya sports yanawekewa 2.5 million. Yes. Mheshimiwa, tukipiga ulitumia kama shilingi milioni 1 ama shilingi 1,500. Vijana wetu wanalia, talanta sasa Bonchari hazipo tena kama kitambo.
Agitated residents of Kibishiko village in Kabete constituency took to the streets to condemn the sale and consumption of illicit brew in the area. The development follows the death of a middle-aged man after he consumed the brew.
Tuko na mmoja amekufa, saa hii hajazikwa. Kuna mwingine amegongewa hapa na gari, amekatwa mguu. Kuna mwingine ako hospitali, anaongezwa damu. Ndio tunasema tukuje hapa tusikie.
Finally, residents evicted from the Masai Mau forest are now calling on the government to allow them to tend and harvest the crops that they had already planted.
Tuka hapa na sio kwa upendo wetu. Tuka hapa kwa sababu ya kutolewa kwa mashamba yetu ambaye tulikuwa tunaishi, tulikuwa tunalima, vyakula imejaa huko kwa mashamba na tuko na shida kubwa.
Watoto wetu wananyeshewa nje. Watoto wetu wananyeshewa nje.
Kasi Chanamasha, Prime Edition.
The pain of a mother. Really a sad story there.
Indeed.
And one can only hope again that the government gets to intervene and save the situation. Police in Embakasi sub-county are investigating a go-down situated at Kiangombe along Mombasa Road for recycling electric material using radioactive technology.
According to the multi-agency team that visited the firm, the materials are dangerous to the workers, locals and the environment.
The facility is now under police guard.
The multi-agency team raided View Technology Limited and came face-to-face with the recycling go-down, said to reprocess used electric material, particularly phone and laptop motherboards. The company presented documents of its operations whose authenticity is being questioned by the authorities.
What all of us have seen is subject to investigations. If at a later stage we find out that somebody has committed an offense, then of course action will have to be taken.
The company had also been served a 14-day compliance notice by the Embakasi Sub-County Environment Office, but went on about its business beyond the notice. The farm that has been in operation for over 5 months now remains guarded as the authorities embark on investigations into allegations of foreign residents residing within the enterprise contrary to the law.
See, according to the law, the Public Health Act, that way it is not allowed. This is an industrial park. So basically it's supposed to be used as an industrial park, not residential area.
If later on we find out that maybe these motherboards are from the phones that are normally snatched from members of the public on our roads, or in other areas within our area of jurisdiction and even beyond, then we shall of course tell you and we shall take action.
This comes amidst calls on citizens to be more careful on how they dispose of their electric waste in an effort to mitigate diseases caused by e-waste. The calls were made during the 3rd Africa International e-waste conference at a Nairobi hotel.
It needs to be only handled by those who can be able to do that, who have the technical know-how, and that includes even transportation. Nobody should carry waste on the street, e-waste on the street.
It's a fantastic opportunity whereby if we work together collaboratively, we will be able to achieve the agenda of trash to wealth.
Yusuf Farr reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, Kenya's newly introduced system of education, competency-based curriculum CBC, has seen many students realize their different skills and talents.
Some filmmakers are already tapping into the talents available in schools as depicted in the musical film Born to Shine, which is a focus tonight on cinemas and theatre, as reviewed by Jacqueline Masharia.
Now, take a look.
Our first story, and everyone is talking about this, is the upcoming musical
play to be held in our school.
I'm a super girl, yeah, you know that I'm a winner, yeah. Champion girl, kila kitu nitashinda, yeah. I know I can do.
Born to Shine, a film by Maya Entertainment and Greenview School's Kamulu, is a colorful and hopeful musical about two girls from different backgrounds who compete for a coveted lead musical role. A musical play is introduced on the first day of school and everyone can't wait to participate.
Mama, what is it, Bella?
Bella, talented, confident and popular, is expected to bag the lead role. But Anna, smart and funny, convinces her best friend Sheila to audition for the same role in order to gain respect from her oppressor, Bella. The movie evokes feelings of friendship, family and betrayal.
My sweet babe.
So we have CBC, and CBC, what it entails, we usually have skills and talent. So it is a responsibility of the school to, under CBC, to nurture talent. Other than the academics, we have to nurture talent and also develop the skills of the students.
Just like other productions, the film incorporated a casting process where, through the current competency-based curriculum, the directors are able to pick the best students for different roles.
No much time left. The musical commences in 3 hours' time.
We did the movie during school session. That made it easy for us since we had all the learners. Of course, the balancing time during our free time, prep times, doing them some over the weekend, including Sundays and public holidays. So we sacrificed our time.
It was actually fun because it's a first time thing. It's actually very fun. We met new people, different characteristics, mastering the scripts, hard, but we got used to it, yeah.
I also got to learn new things, and it also helped in my studies because in our syllabus we have such things like acting. It's really helpful for us, and if you really love acting, you can continue with it, yeah.
But why is it important to incorporate students early in the film industry?
There are some of the things, if you are able to be, you are taught or say you are socialized as far as, as early as you are young. Now it becomes very easy for you because you grow with it. Then by the time you become of age, you will have had so many ideas, you will have the experience, the expertise. Unlike when you learn those skills when you are way too old.
With only a few hours remaining to the awaited musical, Bella Nyaboke, the lead singer, has not appeared in school ever since.
Build this industry, the film industry in Kenya can be one of the greatest. Actually in Kenya we have we have one of the best, all the best actors in Kenya. We have the best actors, we have the good producers, good editors. So we are ready to take over the world.
There's a lot of talent, there's a lot of good ideas, people are serious about it. I think the only problem that we have now is distribution. People are receptive, but the question is, are they willing to pay for it?
I have a slot in the musical. Would you be interested?
Yes.
Can I go? After Bella becomes a school absentee and Sheila is chosen to take the lead role, she decides not to shine in the spotlight by herself and goes to convince Bella to share the part. Will it happen?
We are premiering on 9th of December at Panari, Mombasa Road, and the tickets are already out. We have madfund.com. At madfund.com, we will have they are the people who are coming in handy in selling out our tickets.
I'm a super girl, yeah, you know that I'm a winner, yeah. Champion girl, kila kitu nitashinda, yeah. I know I can do what I wanna do. I know I can do what.
Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
COMESA is one of the 8 regional economic communities recognized by the African Union and has a membership of 21 member states with a population of over 600 million people. Covers quite a wide area, ranging from membership from as far north as Tunisia and as far south as Eswatini.
COMESA's mission is to make trade easier. Its headline projects, programs, and initiatives focus on 4 types of integration.
Watch the COMESA Briefly documentary on Thursday, the 30th of November at 6:30 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Cheza Loto Moto.
School fees mtoto imelipwa, lakini bado tunataka kuendelea throughout.
Loto Moto imekuja kwa maisha yetu when I needed it the most. That is all I can say for now. I'm so grateful. May God bless you.
Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Tukakuja tukaambia watu wetu pesa hiyo inatakikana hiyo 60,000. Tumejaribu kutafuta. Tukiambia watu wa nyumbani washughuliki. Tukiambia badada zangu wengine washughuliki. Tunajaribu kuambia Tanzania hapa tupige hizo picha. Hakuna mtu anashughulika. Kila mtu ametuachilia na dadangu. Baby kila mtu anang'ang'ana nazo hapa kukunywa. Hakuna mtu anataka kujua maisha yako itakuwaje kesho. Wanataka kujua watoto wangu watasurvive aje. Nimeshi kutapika damu hapa tukiwaambia. Hakuna mtu anastuka. Hakuna mtu anakujenga kutuona hapa. Mimi na dadangu ndio tunaishi hapa peke yetu. Tuking'ang'ana, dadangu ana kazi, ana mtu anategemea. Kenye tunapata msaada kidogo ndio tunakula.
For staying with us, let's take a look at the business days, or the business news of the day. Now, a section of seed merchants want the government to zero-rate vegetable seeds to ease food inflation. Seed Trade Association of Kenya Chair Wellington Wasike says the tax and levies imposed on vegetable seeds and crops has considerably increased food prices in the country, edging out local farmers from the market as cheap imports flood the market.
Kenyans are grappling with the high cost of tomatoes and onion, with onion prices increasing by 85% as Tanzania imports reduce. Seed merchants now want the government to consider revising tax on vegetable seeds to cushion consumers against high basic food prices. The Seed Trade Association of Kenya says vegetable seeds should be zero-rated to reduce the cost of food production and protect local farmers from cheap imports.
We are saying that if the government can be able to look at an option of removing that VAT on vegetable, because remember that vegetable is what is used by the Wanjiku in Nyeri, the Moses in Kitale, the very small holder farmer. And once that will be able to go a long way in empowering the smallholder farmer.
We are looking at a win-win situation where we have what is called universal cess. Universal cess basically refers to cess being charged at origin. So if you've paid cess in County 1, as you transverse County 2, 3, 4, 5, then you don't need to pay cess again.
The seed merchants want a review of seed policies to strengthen the country's food systems.
We are working in the drafting of a policy framework on vegetatively propagated materials. It is at an advanced stage, and once that one is finalized, we'll have stakeholder participation.
This as the government says it plans to start free seed distribution to farmers in areas that are currently experiencing heavy rains.
CARO has developed what we are calling the CAHOP, and the CAHOP is a platform whereby farmers are being informed about weather on specific time, on time basis, whereby if you are in a place like Bugoma, you can go your ward and of course get when you are getting your rainfall.
Farmers in the country's food basket will be prioritized during the seed distribution exercise.
Now, climate financing talks are expected to take center stage at the 28th edition of the Conference of Parties, which start tomorrow in Dubai City, United Arab Emirates. Close to 60,000 delegates from more than 190 countries are expected to throng the city for the annual Climate Change Summit. Brian Kimani is attending the meeting and has the following details.
Of the Conference of Parties under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is underway here in Dubai City. More than 60,000 delegates are expected to throng this place, and in the next 10 days they will be burning the midnight oil just to see what kind of a deal they are going to craft.
Serious decisions which are supposed to be made here, which were carried over from COP27 to COP28. First and foremost, the issue of loss and damage is supposed to be concluded so that the loss and damage fund can be functionalized.
Today, what is hovering in the continent is business companies with what selling technologies for low emission. Mara, it is green hydrogen, solar, wind, geothermal. In 1992, those technologies were supposed to be provided and transferred.
The issue of climate financing is also expected to take center stage, coming hot on the heels of COP27, where the issue of loss and damage was agreed upon after 30 years of haggling. We'll be waiting to see what will come out of COP28, which has been dubbed the COP of accountability. From COP28, I'm O'Brien Kimani.
Now back to Nairobi, the geothermal development company GDC is looking to diversify its revenue streams through the sale of steam to industries that rely on power to fuel their heating processes. GDC Managing Director Paul Ngoge has affirmed that the funneling steam from the fields on the Menengai crater floor, the state agency can cut client production costs while improving the country's green credentials.
The Geothermal Development Company figures indicate that Kenya can save $1 trillion for not using diesel to generate an equivalent amount of power. This means that at 90% availability, the 1,065 megawatts of geothermal power can prevent the production of an equivalent of 4.2 metric tons of carbon dioxide every year. Now, the agency has announced ways it plans to improve Kenya's green energy credentials through this displacement.
And this is the dream that we have always had, that if we can get the 50% and goes to electricity generation, and the remaining 50% goes to industrial use, then we can actually lower the cost of production.
The company is currently running 4 pilot projects on heating of fish ponds, greenhouses, and operation of milk pasteurization and laundry industries using direct steam on the floor of the Menengai crater.
There will be many projects, and I am upbeat to ensure that this, not only do we have on this project, but many other projects, because it will not only give us the required income, but it will also help you to grow, to have income and many other things.
They were speaking in Nakuru County after GDC inked a 25-year deal to supply cement manufacturer Karsan Ramji and Sons Limited with steam and brine. In the deal, GDC will provide Karsan Ramji with 40 tons per hour of geothermal steam to be used for generation and the heat to dry during cement production.
But after a lot of persuasion and ideas coming put together, it was decided that we can produce cement from geothermal steam.
The investments they are going to make in this project is a vote of confidence on geothermal energy as a baseload, its affordability, and the green credentials.
With these activities, the GDC will utilize up to 80% of geothermal energy that has been going to waste. Alanako, Prime Edition.
Now, the European Investment Bank has invested $15 million towards the opening of a cold chain solution project in Tatu City's special economic zone. The cold storage facility is expected to contribute to the reduction of food waste and enhance safety standards in food distribution in East Africa. It aims to serve both export and import markets in the Eastern Africa region, operating in perishable goods, and its logistics systems has the capability to monitor and trace products from their point of origin all the way till the final destination.
This facility here behind me is really unique in the quality and in the flexibility that the facility offers for cold storage of produce. They can do really all the variable things from chilled to fresh to frozen to vaccines and other pharmaceuticals.
The idea is to really do some impact around food security, food loss, and what we want to do is to expand this into Mombasa and then to Kigali, Dar es Salaam and Kampala. We're really proud of what we've been able to achieve so far, especially considering the standards of quality, the standards of ESG as well.
Well, that marks the end of business news tonight. On the other end of the studio, we have Daniel Wahome with the day's sports. My name is Wairimu Jenga. Have a good night.
Good evening, viewers. The moment you've all been waiting for has come. Lotto Power is giving you a chance to win up to 200 million Kenyan shillings. There are 8 different cash prize levels, meaning you stand a chance to win all the 8 different prizes of up to 200 million. And now, let's find out if you are among our today's lucky winners. Hongera kwa washindi wote. Ikiwa hujashinda, usijali. Dial *463# au tembelea www.lottopower.co.ke na ucheze. Every ticket you purchase contributes towards a noble cause and charitable activities. Watch Lotto Power draw results every Wednesday and Saturday. I'm your host, Elle.
KBC Channel 1 magazine programs strive to disseminate news and information.
Welcome to Happening in the World of Entertainment
and achievements of individuals navigating through life.
Be part of the intelligent conversation.
Upper KBC Channel 1. Related to the interest of Kenyan public on various subjects of national importance.
Keeping you up to date with the latest tech news,
challenges, and remarkable stories of individuals with disabilities.
And you have a say.
Our magazine programs empower communities with words for conversations and a common language to approach the world.
For your infotainment needs, we have a great range of programs.
Very
very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome. Welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, the national women's soccer team, the Harambee Starlets, were held to a 1-1 draw by visitors Botswana Mares in their 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers final round first leg encounter played at the Nyayo National Stadium. The return leg will be played on the 5th of next month in Botswana.
Botswana scored the first goal in the 36th minute through Keitune Sedidede.
Haya, anaingia kwa mara nyingine tena Ditebe. Anakosa adabu za ugenini. Kitume Sedidebe.
Majolin Nekesa equalized for Kenya from the spot shortly before half-time.
Tacheza kona mwana Alima Adam Jereko. Tuko kwa mara nyingine tena. Rutingosi, mchana unawa mpira, mwamuzi anafunika penalty. Taifa limesimama, taifa linasubiri. Anarejesha taifa. Majolin Nekesa Wafula.
Violet Nanjala missed a stoppage time penalty that could have handed Harambee Stars a crucial victory in the first leg.
Violet Nanjala anakosa penalty kubwa sana. Violet Nanjala.
The players missed some instructions. Sometimes it's dictated by the game. You watch how the opponent play, you plan against how they play. You look at their strengths, you see where to cut. You look at the weaknesses, you see where to capitalize on. I would say it's a fair game. They came for a draw, they got a draw.
Kenya stand Cameroon 5-4 on post-match penalties to advance to the final round of the qualifiers. The return leg will be played on the 5th of this month in Botswana. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Uganda registered a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Zanzibar to blow Group B wide open at the ongoing Sekafa Under-18 Championship at the Buhungu Stadium in Kakamega. In another match, South Sudan defeated Tanzania by 2-1.
Ilikuwa katika mazingira mazuri ya kuingia katika hatua.
Group leaders Zanzibar came into the match targeting maximum points to progress to the last four. Uganda, however, made their winning intentions clear in the 18th minute with Travis Mutiaba's goal.
Wanaingia sasa Uganda. Hakim Mutebi.
Zanzibar pulled an equalizer in the 41st minute through Muhammad Ali, forcing a 1-1 half-time score. In the second half, Uganda added a second to bag 3 points and blow Group B wide open with all teams on 3 points.
Anajifunga mwenyewe hapa, anawapatia Bwerere Uganda bao.
In another match, Christopher Angum's 78th minute goal assured South Sudan a 2-1 win over Tanzania.
Kule Jubora yanyuka sasa.
Now, moving on is that the Kenya Basketball Federation unveiled the men's and women's teams that will represent the country in the FIBA 3x3 Africa Cup in Egypt, scheduled for the 1st to the 3rd of December this year. The tournament will act as a 2024 Paris Olympics qualifying tournament.
The team of 8 will leave the country in readiness for the 10-nation tournament, tipping off on 1st to 3rd December.
We've had many championships this year, but mostly for the under 23, and so the team right now is using that experience. Some of the players have played in the under 23, especially in the women's team. So we're looking forward to seeing how they will use that experience to be able to move us and to take us to the next level.
The men's team has Airo Ortega, US-based Albert Odero, Fahem Juma and Victor Ocheng, while the women's team is comprised of Lithuanian-based Mercy Wanyama, Natalia King and Hilda Endasa and Madina Okot.
Anyone who is in sports will always love to, represent their country in Olympics. So I really pray and I hope we'll be the ones to represent our people.
The coaches leading the teams will be Zadok Adika and Evelyn Kidogo.
For at least now 2 months, we started with non-residential camp where we had a team of around 12 players. We did 2 selections, and these selections enabled us to get the best players around.
The men's team is ranked 7th in Africa and 52nd in the world, while the women's team is ranked 2nd in Africa and 27th globally. The tournament will act as 2024 Paris Olympics qualifying tournament. King Orimwangi for Prime Edition Sports.
Now moving on is that 8 counties are expected to take part in the 4th edition of the Safaricom Chapa Dimba final, set to be held on the 9th and 10th of December at the Kinoru Stadium in Meru County. Speaking during the launch, Mount Kenya and Northeastern Regional Manager James Mutisia said such tournaments helped grow the skills and careers of upcoming players. Mutisia also urged teams from all counties to show up in the event that will bring together teams from the Eastern region. The teams will be drawn from Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Embu, Isiolo, Machakos, Kitui, Marsabit and Makueni counties.
Huko nje hatuna makazi za kufanya, lakini tukijikeep busy, unajua wanasema nini maidi yenye haifanyi kazi, it's a workshop of devils.
Chapa Dimba is not just about football. It's more about engaging with our communities. This month, actually this week, we managed to engage with communities in Meru, to be specific, Mitungu, where we did a free medical camp. We managed, actually, the medical camp managed to benefit more than 3,000 people from Mitungu and Meru County in general.
Well, that's the sport for tonight, and we break. And remember that tomorrow we'll be keeping up with more sport happening all around the country, including our netball team that is in Botswana. Well, time for me to wrap up and hand you over to John Jacob Kioria, who's going to be interviewing, my apologies, the acting CEO of the Hustler Fan, Ms. Elizabeth Nkuku. 1 year on, what is it that the Hustler Fan has achieved? What more opportunities are there for you? Let's find out from JJ Kioria.
I want to show them my attitude. Ya bwana, ni chuo kikuu cha burudani, mashavu.
Nyumbani kaumbea.
Burudani. Twende tukacheze bango. Mama it takes two to tango. Na interview kali kutoka Pwani.
Nakucheza nawe. Baby nimechizi nawe. Na ukitaka tuiwashe leo.
Bwana, kila siku ya Friday ama Ijumaa ukipenda saa 3 hadi saa 6 kamili.
Nafanya kama unacheza isoko.
Kumbuka hashtag Masha. Nyumbani kwa burudani. Usikose tegea show kali tokea pande za Pwani.
Anachukua, anaweka wa
le général Dangote.
Anachukua, anaweka wa
le grand Mbao.
Anachukua, anaweka wa
boss Nyambuka.
Anachukua, anaweka wa.
From the dawn of independence to the present day, Kenya has journeyed with strength and determination. We celebrate Kenya at 60. As we mark this incredible milestone, KBC and Jamboree present an unforgettable celebration of culture, music, and awareness. Immerse yourself in a musical journey featuring global sensations like the mighty Itals and Everton Blender, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, alongside our incredible homegrown artists. But it's not just about the music. Join us for a day of cancer awareness and a fun-filled family day, including horse riding, bouncing castles for the kids, and a special tree planting exercise. Save the dates as we tour a county near you. Ticket information is available on our social media handles at Jamboree Festival KE. Join the celebration, feel the rhythm, and make memories that will last a lifetime. Happy birthday, Kenya.
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the Sekafa Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the 2-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
So at the end of the studio, we're hosting the CEO, the acting CEO of the Hustler Fund. But before we do that, a quick one here. The government is planning to diversify the Hustler Fund products to increase its uptake. The Labour Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui says the government is contemplating adding universal healthcare and housing levy as new products to the Hustler Fund to attract more customers.
7.5 million Kenyans have so far borrowed 39 billion shillings from the Hustlers Fund since its inception. Labour Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui says non-performing loans stand at 30%, with the government attributing the high repayment rate to efficiency of the fund.
Tomorrow is 1 year after the launch, and we have a good story to celebrate. We have touched many lives. We have enabled many Kenyans. And we have even developed and almost matured some products. And that is the real purpose of celebration tomorrow.
To increase the uptake of the fund, Chelugui says plans are underway to expand the fund's portfolio by including the affordable housing levy and universal healthcare as new products to attract more customers.
We are now going to enhance. We'll discuss about the matching of their savings. We'll discuss about other products like housing and low-cost housing, and also access to universal healthcare. So all these are products that we will be scaling up. And through those scale-up products, we will encourage many Kenyans to now participate actively on the Hustler Fund.
The government says the operation cost of the fund have been minimal due to reliance on existing mobile money infrastructure.
And apologies, Simon Chelugui is the Cabinet Secretary or Minister for Cooperatives and MSMEs and not the Ministry of Labour. I'm joined in the studio by Elizabeth Nkuku, who is the CEO, the acting CEO of the Financial Inclusion Fund, or what you call the Hustler Fund. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Probably let's start with the figures, or where the Hustler Fund is 1 year on. How much money have you been able to disburse to Kenyans?
So in total, the total disbursement is about 39.6 billion and growing daily. That is to the individuals, to the individuals. There is also another almost 167 million that has been disbursed to groups. So you remember when we started with the individual business, where individuals who are really not necessarily for business, but even for consumption. In total, we have disbursed that amount of money to about 18.6 million Kenyans. And for the groups, we have disbursed the same to about 23,000 groups. Yes.
Which reminds me, what happened to your daily updates about the uptake of the Hustler Fund?
It's in our website. If you go to our website, the numbers are there. If you follow the Cabinet Secretary, the numbers are there. The Principal Secretaries, myself, the numbers are there. So it's just maybe the consumption, and maybe when the numbers got so huge, people are like, okay, fine, let's not wait, let's not follow as much. But yes, the numbers are released. Yeah.
Based on the disbursement that you're talking about so far, have you been able to stratify the data so much so that you're able to see, is it men who are borrowing more? Is it women who are borrowing more, particularly on the personal loan facility for Hustler Fund?
So if you look, we have analyzed the data across the various matrices, of which gender is one. About 52% of people who have borrowed are men, 48% are ladies. So we can actually say it's really serving across the board. In terms of age, again, you'll see that we have people who are as young as 18, because you have to have your ID, and all the way past 70 years. So in terms of proportions, we would have close to 10% of people above the age of 60. Below the age of 35, we have about 70%. So if you look at, again, the spectrum, 70% of the people that are in the Hustler Fund are young people, and again, cut across the genders. In terms of distribution, we have lent money across the country. All the 47 counties are represented. The bulk of it will really be in Nairobi and the Nairobi metropolis, just because, again, the number of populations and the population that we currently have within the metropolis. And the repayment, again, cuts across. We have a repayment rate of about, an average of about 70 to 73%. The counties within Nairobi and Central actually are repaying better. So you learn a lot when you look at the data. It tells you a lot, which also creates ways and policies of how do you support people maybe around the country. So as we look at the Hustler Fund, it's not necessarily, and it's not only a financial solution, it is also creating a lot of data that is interesting for analysis and just to see what kind of interventions should the government be looking into.
And we'll look at whether it has achieved its primary objective, because as it is the Financial Inclusion Fund, see whether it has achieved that. But on a quick one, and this is a question that confronts the Hustler Fund every time it is mentioned, is that from the launching, that is on the 30th of November 2022, to the end of the financial year, that is 2022-2023, there was no allocation in the budget for the money disbursed by Hustler Fund to the public. At least for this financial year, it is factored in the budget. Where did that money come from?
Government has ways and mechanisms of looking at things that things change. So there are mechanisms of incorporating that. So through the supplementary budget, then it was actually introduced. The same thing, if, for example, maybe to bring it home, assuming that this year there was no allocation for El Nino or the rains, you cannot now sit there and say, because I did not budget, I'm not going to support it. So what the government does is look at the priority areas and actually just reallocates within itself and just says, where do we get this money? Because if things are changing, their priorities are changing, you as the government, you have to be diverse.
Quite an interesting one. Do you monitor? Because I asked for this money, it's disbursed to me, and we'll talk about the percentage a little bit later. But are you able to monitor the success stories of this money? And not just about the circles. I'm talking about people who are borrowing for personal reasons. Are you able to monitor the success stories, if there are any, or the money was put into good use?
Yeah, we are able to. And one of the things that we did is just across the country, looking at all the counties and seeing who are the top borrowers and what are they doing. We visited them just to see, what is your story? So you remember there's talk about someone who has borrowed 1,309 times. That is at the end of October. And what are they putting this money into? They're in retail. So they borrow the money in the morning, they stock their shop. So you can actually see actual growth in that context. Then you can actually also, that is likely when you go to the ground. There is also now a statistical way of checking that. I think one of the key things that I like referring to is a report by Central Bank, which says most of the people now are borrowing and putting this money into businesses. So initially when we started, you could actually have seen that most of that money went to consumption. But over time, as the limits are going to increase, as we're focusing on other different products, you're actually seeing that going into the business. So yes, we are going to work on a study just to be able to put numbers and figures, but it's the data and the people you have talked to are actually, it's actually interesting statistics there.
What is that transformational story that you've been able to record of even that 500 shillings that is being borrowed, of what it has done probably to a startup business or something like that? What have you been able to record, let's say, that one peculiar case of transformation through Hustler Fund?
Let me just go back to what the president talked about. His name is Harrison. He will be coming to the celebration tomorrow because it's good that people put a name to what His Excellency had talked about. He borrows he's in the tuk-tuk business. So what he does is he takes that money, he borrows the money, fuels the tuk-tuk, which does not belong to him, and then he's able to repay. So that is why he has been able to pay. On average, he borrows 3 to 4 times a day. So what that does is it is helping him create a credit history that he will work with. And then now he will be able to be absorbed by the banking sector. That is one. And then the other thing is some of the people are actually taking this money as a way of saving as well. You don't think about it when you borrow 500 shillings, what is credited to your account is 475. You have 25 shillings that has been saved. So that means something. And when we will be looking at the success stories, I think that will be one of the key success stories. People were retiring without necessarily having any sort of income. But in terms of has it achieved its objective, the journey to achieving its objective is actually being worked because you are actually having people save for their retirement. Yes.
Now that you speak about saving, how much money has been saved so far by Kenyans since November of last year?
It's about 2 billion.
2 billion.
2 billion has been saved and invested, and people are going to get a good return.
Okay.
Which the president will be talking about tomorrow.
He will be speaking about it.
Yes.
But 2 billion shillings. We'll talk about defaulting later. But this 2 billion shillings, you say the government has already invested in the president to speak about it. I think the biggest question for the people watching us tonight and what they would want to know, what are the modalities of me getting my savings from the Hustler Fund deductions?
So the Hustler Fund savings is divided into 2. So you have 5%. The whole of amount is 5%. 30% of that goes to your short-term savings, money that you can use for your everyday user. Or you are saving, yes, but you would like to you can access it to do something. Maybe you just got a fix, so you can be able to access that money. That is 30%, and that is one of the things that will be happening beginning tomorrow. Then there is the 70%, which is your pension or long-term. Let's call it long-term pension, like long-term savings that will be going to your pension. So this money is really to help you in your old age. So what then has happened is that you have to define a retirement age, and you see people who are in business most of the time maybe do not have a definite retirement age, but you have to create something that you can be able to work as a benchmark. So the retirement age in that case is about 60 years, and people will be able to access the bulk of their money at that point. However, you're dealing with a hustler. So this particular person they are running a business. So you're helping them save, but remember, maybe they would like to expand their businesses. So instead of waiting, I started saving when I'm 18. Instead of waiting until when I'm 60, we are giving options that I can be able to access these funds after 5 years. And so that's one of those are some of the mechanisms that we are putting in place to meet people halfway, to make sure that yes, I'm saving for a certain goal. In the next 5 years is what I want to achieve. So can I be able to get my 30% maybe of the long term?
You've said something, beginning tomorrow for this short-term funds. So what is the procedure if I want to access my savings?
*254# is the path to take. There is also the Hustler Fund app. But for most people, let's say to *254# because most if you're on feature phone, and then you just select Hustler Fund. And then you'll be able to see what you want to check. You can actually check your savings, and then you can also say, can I get my savings? You'll be able to see how much you've saved on the long term, how much I've saved on the short term.
So you withdraw on the money sending platforms?
Yes, it is credited to your money market, to your wallet. Yes.
This pension money, once a person retires, will they get a whole sum, or will it be piecemeal once you have retired and you're entitled to this savings?
The retirement industry is regulated, so it will depend on the amount of money that you've saved, and depending on whether you could say we are getting a pension, but it becomes really trivial. So that there are ways and mechanisms in which you can access your money. If it's a trivial pension, you are then told trivial is really the minimum amount of money that you need to live. Like maybe if you look at what the government usually say, this is a minimum money that someone should earn. So if it's maybe below that, then it's become trivial. They will give you the entire amount. So those are the mechanisms that we are going to put at and say, what is trivial for a hustler? And then decide how then are they going to access that money.
Does it mean that you have not identified the figure that is trivial?
No, the trivial number is actually is actually regulated by the Retirement Benefits Authority.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we haven't done is to see simulation up to maybe 5 years. What is that amount of money that someone, the highest or the bulk of the population, will have saved? Yeah. Because you see, yes, there's the regulation, but at the same time you have your own reality. 18 million Kenyans. You have to do the analysis to see how much are they saving. And as we speak now, I think we have people who have saved quite a bit on the long-term savings, which is now the mandatory saving. You have people who have saved over 200. And then there are people who are saving voluntarily. If you remember, the president launched the voluntary savings on the International Women's Day. So we have seen people save over 600,000, 630. Actually, I think it's over close to 650. So if you look at those people, they're actually saving for a specific need. So the question is, how do we support them so that they're putting this money and then they get returns that they could not get otherwise on their own, and you make it easy for them to do that. Yeah.
So because normally pension money is contributed through NSSF, in the country, of course, unless you have another private scheme. Is this money being channeled to NSSF or?
And NSSF targets, as it is right now, targets the employed individuals. If you look at what is happening right now, for us, we are targeting the individual who is not employed. So yes, there will be similarities between what we are doing and what the NSSF is doing. We are looking at the framework that works so that we can know how that is going to be. Yes.
Quite interesting. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, defaulting. There have been figures flying around. 6 billion, it's 9 billion. How much money has been defaulted by Kenyans?
I think the repayment rate for Kenyans, by all means, for the Hustler Fund is really decent at 73%. That is that's a good number. So, and the question is, we should be asking ourselves, why are people defaulting? If they're defaulting. So that's why then you need to do the analysis and say, maybe we are defaulting because we do not know why you should pay back. So one of the things that we're actually doing in this anniversary is to show people why they should pay back. We have to, our aim as government is really to nurture and not to punish. So what we are going to do is to make sure that we are showing you, okay, fine, do you know this person has done ABC, like the questions that you're asking, what are the success stories? So when someone sees someone who has been borrowing 1,300 times, that is like 4 times a day, what have they been able to do? Or why are they doing that? Then we are going to be able to convert that and show people that they should pay. Yes.
Nothing about the figures.
We are at about 73% repayment. Rate. Yeah. And
so defaulting is about 27.
Yes.
27%. That's still quite a huge figure.
If you compare with the other digital lenders, we are doing much better.
You're doing much better?
Yes.
All right. There's the concerns that complain that people have been borrowing since November and their limit level of years to go up. What is happening?
Wait until tomorrow and the president will tell us when our limits are increasing and how.
Okay.
Because one of the things that we want to... We have... there's a lot of conversation yes about my limit not increasing. And we were really trying to settle the product. But tomorrow there will be a significant pronouncement from the president in terms of how the limits are going to increase, how the frequency of increase, and what you need to do for your limits to grow.
What took so much time? Because during his Madaraka Day speech, when he officially launched the MSME and group loan for the Hustler Fund, he also mentioned about the increase in personal loan. What took so long for the Financial Inclusion Fund to implement what the president had said during his Madaraka Day speech?
It's really data analytics because you don't want to give people. We had not collected enough data to be able to know this particular person needs to get to point X. So we were doing the analytics just to be able to be sure that what is the pattern of this person. So right now we have sufficient data that we can be able to say, you know what, this person seems like a good borrower. So if you remember how the initial ones were done, we relied largely on the mobile network operators' data points. Now we have our own data as a fund, and we can be able to use that for scoring and just making sure that people are getting the scores that they really deserve. Yes.
So moving forward, the data you're relying on is what you've been able to collect from the borrowers?
Yes, most of this will be what we have borrowed. Yeah.
An interesting one. The question of financial literacy for a person who borrows money, because it's easy to access money, and I think that is what the Hustler Fund intended to do, to remove all the bureaucracies around accessing a loan facility. But what goes into financial literacy? Are you offering such lessons to the people who borrow this money, and particularly the groups that will be coming to you to ask for the facility?
So yes, and that is one of our key mandates. If you look at our regulations, we must be able to train these people on matters money and what is it that they need to do. And when you look at money, there's money in two ways. This is a hustler. They have their own personal money. How then do they transition that this is business money, this is personal money? So we are partnering with government institutions that are already doing that, so that they can be able to help us cascade that information all the way to the grassroots. So remember, as you're getting your money on the mobile, but at times that training can't be on mobile. So the question is, who is it that we can be able to use to actually reach the grassroots? So that is work that is ongoing, just trying to map the country and just knowing who is the right person to train this. So we shall standardize and simplify, so that if you think about it, most people who run businesses, at times they don't want to do the hard maths. So how do you simplify it for them so they're able to follow all the way to the end? So that is work that is going on, and we will make it very easy for people to be able to follow that. That is one. The other thing is, in terms of literacy, there's formalization of the businesses, because at times you don't get what you deserve because people cannot tell your story all the way. So we will be helping in terms of formalization of businesses as much as possible, and this is through registration of the groups, registration of individual businesses. And if you look again at the growth of our products, we started with individuals, we have gone to individual biashara and business and chairmans. Now we are focusing on SMEs, someone who has a story that can be funded. So for us is to nurture and move them to the next level, where they can actually be able to get money, even from the banking sector directly.
You've recorded quite impressive figures as we wind up in terms of repayment, in terms of uptake. But there were funds before Uwezo Fund. Before Hustler Fund, there was Uwezo Fund, there was Youth Fund. But if you looked at their uptake, there appeared to be a kind of disconnect. What lessons have you learned from the funds that preceded the Financial Inclusion Fund to make this a success?
If you look at all those funds, they're very targeted. They're very targeted in terms of who they are serving. So Uwezo Fund will be serving the underprivileged, the women and PWD. Then you'll have Youth Fund focusing on the youth. We have Women Fund on the focusing on women. So for us, we come and look at it in terms of an equalizer, and technology is the equalizer. So one of the biggest success story is ability of the fund to reach as many people with very little bureaucracy. And we will actually, that is one of the key things that really differentiates us. Ability to access your money as fast as possible, and reaching across the country. Yeah.
You're saying we should expect some good news tomorrow from the President?
Yes, a really, really good news tomorrow from the President, and we welcome you to come and celebrate with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. We're talking to the acting CEO, Hustler Fund, the Financial Inclusion Fund, or what we love calling the Hustler Fund. Tomorrow is when they mark 1 year since their launch, and of course they've made quite huge successes. But then we await for that good news from the President. Maybe your limit will go up from the 500 shillings you've been wailing about the last 1 year. It's time for us to put a cap to Prime Edition. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will be putting a cap on Prime Edition. Have yourself a fantastic night ahead. God bless you. Anwangeshi was a sign language interpreter.